Okay, we good? All right. We'll pretend there's a bigger audience. It'll be fun. Okay, my name's Evan Knight. I am a multi-business owner, inventor, philanthropist, very, very busy human being. So I do events like this I've been helping out with. I do children's Camp Nui Nui, which is a cancer program to help them out. I'm the guy with all the puzzles and the big wooden games down there. I think I know most everyone here, so we're good. We can skip all that. Okay, inventing things. The number one thing is like people ask, where do you get your ideas from? I have a crazy easy solution for you. Just steal them. Just steal the ideas. You go on the internet and you find someone else's idea and you're like, wow, that was an amazing thing. And then you steal that idea, but you only steal one part of that idea. So what you want to do is find out, what I do is use Evernote, and I have like 3,000 little Evernote tabs that are all labeled with what I like about an object. So I'll see something and I like that squiggle. In fact, I did that to get that squiggle. Like, that was a fantastic squiggle. I want a squiggle like that. And so I'll put in my category of styles that squiggle is a neat squiggle. So then when I make a whole product like this, I can add in the little flair of squiggle. And then I'll write down something like, oh, I like the mechanism here. And so then I can combine mechanism with style to make this neat thing. So this is my tongue-in-cheek thing. So one of the cool concepts I love sharing with people is in China, one of the ways that people become wealthy from a poor family is they make Santa Clauses. So there's these little Santa Claus toys that you can buy at the 99-cent store here in America. And the way this comes to be is like everyone thinks it's a big factory pushing out these things. No, it's just some family, and all they do is make Santa Claus things. Because the father invested at some point to buy this Santa Claus making machine, and it's just a press and it puts the heads on it. 99% invisible, did a great story on this. And it puts the heads on them, and it puts the arms on them, and it's just this kind of labor-consuming process. But what they do at home is they just get the entire family involved in it. So mom's finished taking care of the kids, cleaning up the house, boom, she'll go and work on Santas for an hour. Kids have done their homework, good, go make 20 Santas and then you can go to bed. Dad's home from work early, boom, he'll make 50 Santas, right? So they just constantly do this process. So I can actually see, and my prediction of the future is that America is going to do this, right? Everyone's gonna have their side hustle. And I love meeting my friends who have their side hustle because everyone has their number one big thing that they're doing. And then they got that little thing of like, oh yeah, I also sell Amway, or I also have a multi-level marketing thing. And as much as that drives you nuts, I'd rather have a friend like that who is trying to sell that extra thing and bring in that extra $20,000 a year than just roll along with like, oh, okay, I work in an office 8 hours a day and that's it, right? So I'm highly interested in people's little side hustle and weird little projects that they're doing. Where was I doing? Oh, I have a cool thing on the Industrial Revolution. We're actually at the 4th Industrial Revolution. So the first one was in 1784. Who knows what was invented then? Any guesses? Industrial Revolution? Huh?
The printing press?
Nope, that was before that. Steam engine. Steam engine is the first thing. So as soon as we got steam, that was a mechanism that you could use to crush flour, just rotate an entire thing. And what they would do is they'd have these entire giant machines, one machine in a factory, and then that would push the mechanism, the wheel or the belt, into several machines in that thing. So people, just like today where we have shared workspaces, people would have an entire factory, and then what you would get is a space to work and a belt that moves. So a seamstress could be there and rent out a small little thing, and you could actually make this thing move because the owner of the building has a giant steam thing, just like the building would have the internet now. So that was the first Industrial Revolution. Then we moved on to 1870, the assembly line. And that kind of changed with Henry Ford's the guy who kind of popularized it. He's the assembly line guy. And that just made it so efficient to move one object down a line so we could put it together really quickly and make cheap, really quick products. Third Industrial Revolution was, I'm gonna get the dates right because they're so interesting, 1969. You guys know what we did in 1969? We got computers. Computers started to become cheaper and available, so we could start automating things like spreadsheets. Like the spreadsheet changed the world. Just an amazing way for huge quantum leap in human history to move from steam engine to assembly line to I'm getting tied up here, to our spreadsheets and computers. So now we're in the 4th revolution. You guys know what the 4th one is? going to change everything. It's happening right now. It's possibly going to happen in about 3 years. Our AI technology is getting good. It's getting real good. That you can actually feed it in a whole bunch of data. That's why cars are learning to work. Oh, when you say, okay, Google, or hey, Alexa, the reason those companies are getting into this, they're not making any money on that right now. It's so that they can teach the computer to actually respond and listen to that. So we're teaching the computer, and we're putting in. So that is going to be a huge thing. One day we'll be able to invent things by like, okay, Google, I want to make a thing that's, has so my water pours out even, like whatever crazy little invention that is. Okay, I want to move on to making those inventions. So I make a whole bunch of little things. You guys have seen like I have like 100 little things. So my process for making them is first the idea of Evernote, and I combine those ideas. Then I get a giant piece of paper. I love spreading it out, and I love doing things to scale. So if I have a piece of paper, I will literally, like if I'm doing a glove, I will put my hand down and trace all around, so everything's perfectly to scale. So it does by puppet. So if I'm making even one of these games or something like this, I'll draw it out in as big scale as possible, because it's really hard to get the scale, it's this small and then it gets bigger. It's so much easier to do it that way. And then the idea is cardboard. You guys saw my daughter down there. She has the cardboard castle thing. So I love that idea. That's all her. That's amazing. And I'll tell you why. I'll give a sneak peek of where I'm going with this. The reason she's doing that cardboard thing, she's 8 years old, is because one, it was cheap. We had $30 for the cardboard there. And two, is she will be 18 years old in about 10 years, and someone's gonna need to pay for her college. And I'm doing everything I can right now so it's not me, right? I want her to be scholarship all the way. So one of the many, many things that's going to be on her college resume thing is going to be, college applications, is going to be the fact that when she was 8 years old, she had her own booth at the Maker Faire, Honolulu Mini Maker Faire. So she's gonna have about 50 of those things, and we're gonna keep going with that. I'll get more into that later. So with cardboard, the reason I love it is it's fail fast and fail quick. The last thing you wanna do is try to make the perfect item. Like this isn't even a finished form, but trying to make that the last thing is just horrible to start out trying to do that. What I did with even something like this is a gearbox of happiness, if anyone doesn't know. So the joke here is that it would take 4 years of spinning like this to actually get it to tell you the secret of happiness. So it's a gag gift, right? So what I did first is just made a small section of it, just so I could get those gears. And this kept breaking all the time. So then I made it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so this is the 6th or 7th edition of this, because kids break it all the time. And every time a kid breaks it, I add one more part so that it doesn't break as fast the next time. And so I keep iterating and moving on. Cardboard, there's limited resources. Oh, your limited resource, your number one limited resource is hands down your time, right? Because so cardboard's cheap, if you can do that. Only when it gets into the fact that you're using metal and titanium and gold and things like that, is your time suddenly worth more, your material worth more than your time. So I'm such a huge fan of just using junk materials. All the tools that I buy, I have a great solution for buying tools because I have so many. Buy the junkest, crappiest tools you possibly can. So buy like the cheap $2 chisels, and then what I do is if you use it enough that you actually break it, then it's time to actually buy a nice like $50 chisel. So it's worked out for me. Oh, and then, this is so great, makers in my community, and people we know, I didn't just make one of these. I made like 10 of these, and the reason for that is I totally messed up on several of them, even the final edition, and I ended up throwing it out, and this gear didn't turn, and that gear didn't turn. And then I ended up with like 3 good ones. And so I have these 2 extra ones, and what I do is I go to a friend, hey, you made something cool too, and I exchange that for time on his laser cutter, right? For just the information. So you have this extra product that you can just give to people. It is the handiest thing. And then you just keep the nicest one for yourself. Prototypes. I forgot what I meant by that. Okay, 20-hour rule. There is an awesome thing called the 10,000 hour rule. Who knows what that is? Gotcha. You want to say what it is?
It takes 10,000 hours to master something.
Yep. So people who do something really well, you see the samurai swords, right? So they always say it's like, oh, he's a master of it. It's because the guys put in at least 10,000 hours. If you put 10,000 hours into anything, you are basically a professional. It doesn't mean you're the best in the world, you're not Beethoven or Mozart, but people will pay you to play the piano if you have 10,000 hours worth of experience. Like, it's easy. So there's another magical number. It's the 20-hour rule. With 20 hours of experience of anything, you look cool at parties. So, so if you teach yourself the ukulele for 20 hours, you will be able to play good enough that you could do a couple songs at a party, and people will be like, wow, that's good, you're really progressing. And you can stop there, right? Or continue on if that's your thing. But I'm such a huge fan of not focusing on one thing. Like, you'll notice a lot of people have like, oh, I just do laser cutting, or I just do masonry work, or I just do tile, or whatever. I love doing a little bit of everything. So I am by no means a master of any particular material or substance. I am really good at combining the weirdest things together to create such a variety of things. Thus the Evernote and category, all that, and smashing it all together. Oh, focus groups. Focus groups are great, but they're expensive, right? So how on earth do you get a bunch of kids to play with these toys and test them out? I do it for free here, right? So they're all down there. All the kids are playing it. They've broken 3 games already today, right? So 3 of them are destroyed. It's going to take me an hour or 2 to make them. But now I know where they break, because it's the second time the lantern is broken with the stick thing. And then I forget what the other things were, but it's happened before, so now I can just iterate and change that thing. And then you learn which ones are actually worthwhile. Like, I don't know if you guys saw, there's Sudoku down on the ground, and it's a big colored map, there's pieces there. No one ever plays this game. No one plays it because it's too crazy, right? There's too much going on. But what kids like to do is just move the pieces all around, and the only reason I bring it, because it's definitely not my popular game, is because it's so easy to store. Like, everything's just flat, and then I just throw the pieces in a bucket, and then it's so easy, you just dump it out in the bucket, and my game is there. So getting that focus group, I'm lucky because I make toys, right, is the easiest way. But other ways to do it is, like, I make these books, and what I did is send these out to everyone for Christmas. So I made about 100 of these, and I wrote, like, my mom's name on, like, thank you, da-da-da-da, and your mom, and then I forgot what I put, like, thank you for the love of our family. And you have to solve the book in order to open it, and then you enter in the last thing. And it's great because my family are very honest. They're jerks. So they're like, hey, I got your book, but it's broken. And I'm like, okay, where did it break? Right? So then they send me a picture, and then I iterate and iterate and iterate. So this is like the 64th edition of this thing. So now when I print them out, they're pretty good. There's still more. I think when I get to about 100, I'll be doing pretty good. So I always do that Christmas run first. Then what I did, we'll get into marketing. I wonder if it's selling well. Oh, one more thing before that. You notice I make a whole bunch of different things. Like, it's a weird variety. They're all kind of kids' toys and whatnot. But the reason I do that is I put these on the internet. Like, I made this whole website, and I've spent hundreds of dollars and hours of time to make this thing. Because I was like, this is going to be my moneymaker. It's great. These sell really poorly on my website. Like, really poorly for what they are. I've sold like 4 or 5 of these, and I thought this would be my moneymaker. You know, I'm gonna quit my job. But what sells really good on my website is like business cards and awards. And then I made this silly little ruler that's called the cinch. It's halfway between an inch and a centimeter. So it's the most infuriating ruler you can ever possibly give someone. It's just a gag gift that you give to things, and it's so easy to print out. It cost me 20 cents to print this out, and I sell a box at 20 for $19.95. So it's cheap, and I've sold a bunch of these. But people get drawn in by this because it looks like quality product, and then they're like, oh, I'll buy something a little cheaper, and yeah. So whatever sells, I'm good. I'm happy to make them. It's a lot easier than making these things. But I'm still going to keep going with this because I love it. Marketing. Oh, I just learned recently that in the marketing thing, any good CEO spends 25% of his time just meeting with people. So kind of the point I'm forcing myself to do this talk is just so I can meet people. I think I know most everyone in the room here. It's awesome. So I can get to know people. Hey, this is what I do, and just find out. And maybe I won't have an idea for myself, but I know Alex, I know Pascal, and then you two could possibly work together, and maybe that'll come back to me. So if you could just make those connections, this is what I've learned to do, and I've been doing this for a year now. So my contact list has gone by 3,000 people. I try to meet like 10 people a day, at least, to put it in there. And my contact list is blown up. The one thing is, if I go to Home Depot and I'm doing a job, I run into 4 or 5 people that I know, and people stop and talk to me. So now a Home Depot trip is like 2 or 3 hours. It's infuriating, an interesting phenomenon. Style, test all, craft shows. Okay, testing. So like what basically the social media, right? So we're getting on there, try to find the handle. I'm called Puzzle Company, right? I can't believe no one took that name. The website is Original Puzzle Company because someone has puzzlecompany.com and it just says for sale there, and they want $10,000 for it because they'll just hold it. But Original Puzzle Company was $7, and I am nowhere near at that level to pay $10,000 to it. So at least I have that for now. But on Twitter, on Reddit, on Instagram, Facebook, I'm all Puzzle Company. So it all links to each other. So the way I found to do marketing that works really, really well is you just get a regular Google Doc or spreadsheet or whatever, and then you're gonna have the same 20 questions asked you over and over and over again. So what I've done is I just put, like, if someone receives a product, then I have a little letter that comes out like, thank you for your purchase. I appreciate this so much. We're working on a few more things that you might like too. Just want you to know that you're supporting a small family business. Da-da-da-da-da. It's a little happy letter. Then I have my unhappy letter. Oh, I'm so sorry that something went wrong with the product. 100%, I'll give you 100% of your money back. I would love another opportunity to try to get you one that works. Da-da-da-da-da. Just want you to know that your efforts are supporting small family business. And it kind of has that tag. So now, when I get an angry letter from a client because their puzzle book broke, then I can just copy paste that and I don't get all upset about it. So it works really well. So there's about 20 little things. Hey, thank you. And just like soliciting to charity work. I'm getting Brian Toda, he's not in the room, but I'm getting Brian Toda, he's a writer, publicist sort of thing, and he's writing me a whole bunch of letters that, oh yes, we'll do this charity work and I'll bring my toys to your organization. And it's just things that I can send out, copy paste, so I don't have to think about it. Contact page, biography, thank you later, got that. As far as selling, I sell right now on my website, is the best way to start. I use Squarespace because it's easy to program a website. It costs about $300 a year, and it handles all the billing and receipts and everything that comes out. Makes it easy. But more than that, what it does is show me traffic spikes and sales spikes. So I get this little ratio thing there. So then what I can do is I try a Facebook push. Like I'll do a huge Facebook push. I have these cute little videos. Like there's a video that explains how to make this thing. It's all open source. And people will get to see like how to do it, and then I'll see what my spike is. So it's like, oh, okay, I released a video on this, and my traffic went up 200 views in a single day. And then what I found is Facebook isn't very good, but Reddit is amazing for any sort of woodworker, craft, making sort of thing. So you put it on there, and then my traffic went to like 10,000 in a day. And of course, like a couple people are like, well, I'm here, I'm gonna buy a cinch, you know? So it's a good way to do it. Amazon, I haven't gone, so I'm doing these one by one. Amazon, I'm going into in a couple months. They actually have a really good program for people making homemade stuff and to order. And all you gotta do is follow their rules. We're a little tricky because we live in Hawaii and I have to ship things. So what I do is I just charge too much for these, and then it's all free shipping anyways. Just included in the price because it just makes everyone happy. Yelp's super good. Yelp has gotten me quite a few things. So what I did to start off with is I just got my friends. I sold them a book for like $2, and I was like, oh, excellent, this is a cool gift. I was like, could you go on Yelp and review me? I'm like, oh yeah, 5 stars, because they only paid $2 for it. So the thing you gotta be careful with is Yelp has an equation that if you just put in, like if everyone has the same last name, they know it's all your family reviewing your thing, so that doesn't work. And then if everyone reviews everything in 1 week, they're like, oh, this guy just called around and asked everyone to do that. So what I do is I have on my calendar just to call someone different each day. I'm gonna hit some of you up actually. I was like, hey, can you review me on Yelp? I'll give you a book, whatever. And then so I have 5 stars all the way on Yelp. And then I get a few people, my business name is Puzzle Company. They have no idea what I make. But I have people just call me out of the blue and be like, hey, I need a puzzle by tomorrow. And I'm like, who needs emergency puzzles? But apparently there's a market for emergency puzzles in our world. Because I have so many guys who are like, yeah, it's my son's birthday tomorrow and I ordered something from Amazon, but it hasn't come yet. So I need a custom puzzle in the shape of his name. Can you possibly make that? And I'm like, well, my real job's go until 3 o'clock, but I'll do that after I get home. And then they'll get, like, here's the thing, you gotta pick it up from my house. That saves me the shipping. And then everyone's so grateful and happy for it, and I get 5 stars from it. Because people in this world need emergency puzzles. So, friends list, patents. Oh, patents. I wanna talk about patents for a bit. I find, just for me, for what I do, I find patents to be a complete waste of time. It doesn't work. If you have a product, it's $40,000 basically to get a patent all the way through. So if you're going to do that, you need to sell $40,000 at $1 profit each just to pay for your patent. So it's never worked. So people are gonna rip me off. I totally get that. People, I've seen a couple rip-offs of this. What I do is I put the plans for it right online. And I've actually gotten huge responses from the community just saying like, wow, that's so cool. And I made one. I was like, yes, if you make one, send a picture. And then some guy made a prettier one than this. He actually like made the wood nice at the bottom and whatnot. And then he put it up on the internet. I was like, wow, this is so great. And the guy from Puzzle Company gave me the code. Here's his web address. And then a bunch of people like that on Reddit. And then I got all the traffic from it. So it's great. So even though I didn't make any money, and then people are looking around snooping my website, and a couple people bought stuff. So that works. Patents. Oh, scholarships. So I want to get into the scholarship thing. So like I was saying, my daughter is doing the Maker Faire thing. So what I'm going to highly encouraging is to get my 8-year-old right now to make whatever crazy invention she can. And they don't need to be like the most amazing thing ever, like this. These qualify, just something like that. And then what we do is we just sell them to family and friends. And then you can say that, oh yeah, when I was 8 years old, we were making this, we were doing this. I'm also, because I do a bunch of charity work, I'm going to open up the Alex and Oliver Foundation. That's my daughter and son's name. And then they can claim on their scholarship again that, oh yeah, ever since I was like 8 years old and 4 years old, that we have been supported this. And then all this little charity work things that I do, they can take credit for it because they have absolute control. Because I'm gonna be like, hey, can I do Campa Nui Nui? And they'll be like, yeah, do it, whatever. So they will actually have real control. And then when they turn 18, I think I'll just gift it over to them. Because my whole thing is I'm never gonna build this account up to be tens of thousands of dollars. We'll just leave it at that few $1,000s in it, just enough to do my yearly charity stuff. And then they can have it and take it over from there, and that could be their thing, their baby. So, okay, I think I'm wrapping up. Yeah, I'm gonna skip that part. Any questions? That was my thing.